Welcome to our new crib. This is actually the first time that we're spending multiple days in a row on the land. We haven't had the time and also just not the opportunity. One of the major improvements that has made that possible is this beauty of a beast, this container that we've got delivered a while back. And we're also slowly but surely expanding onto that, making it somewhat livable over here. So we spent a few days on the land, and today I just wanted to walk you through and show you what a day looks like. Wake up, a cup of coffee, enjoy the view, have something to eat, and then usually we start with some household chores. So for example, yesterday I chopped quite a bit of firewood because there's no other way to stay warm at night and also no other way to cook the food, so that's an important aspect. We've been sorting through some of the stuff that I've been hoarding, a lot of sheet metal, some random bits and bobs, and then we basically get to work, and work involves lots of different things depending on the day, depending on the weather. We've got a few jobs lined up for this afternoon. I found another Oldman's beard a bit further up in one of the big trees, so I'm going to have a go at that. We're also going to be sowing some seeds, and then we're also just going to do some more general exploring of the land. So I've got another 2 experiments today, as is usual with us. I'm going to direct sow some toi and harakeke, so New Zealand native flax seed. I'm going to go on this berm and on this edge over here. I'm going to use a rake because the toi seed is a very fluffy grass-like seed, so I'm just going to rake it on. And then the second experiment, along the bank, we're going to direct sow the flaxes to stabilize the berm. I'm just going to try and separate some of the seeds from the seed heads and make it mostly fluff. I'll keep the seed heads and we'll place those in strategic locations where the water's going to run past, so they kind of lodge themselves and then still provide some seeds. I'm going to mix in some of the soil and then add the harakeke seeds, the flax seeds, and then we're just going to sprinkle it over and then rake it to the side. So you might be wondering, why am I adding the clay soil or the soil to the toi seed? The toi seed doesn't like to be covered. With the flax seed, you can dig a little hole and cover it, whereas the toi seed really just wants to settle down on top. It wants to be taken away by the wind, wants to land somewhere and then take root. So I'm kind of simulating that in a way. I'm going to spread it, but I want to make sure that it stays within these areas, and that's why I'm just adding a little bit of soil to the mixture so they become heavy enough to kind of land in this location. I'm going to use the rake and do a quick scratch up of the surface where I spread most of the seeds. If we lose all the toi seed, that's fine, they'll just get blown into the landscape. Either way I'm happy, but for the flax seeds they actually like to be covered just a little bit, and then within no time this will be a toi harakeke haven. One of the plans is to sow some flaxes, some harakeke along this bank or along this edge of the pathway, because the soil trickles down quite a bit, so we want to stabilize the bank as much as possible. I've planted a few flaxes already. So these are the flaxes, the harakeke, which are planted before. Planted them near the bamboo stakes. They're going to get a bit of a head start. And so one of the main reasons, of course, is we've got our container there. Surprise, surprise. So we want to try and prevent as much of sagging as possible. And harakeke, the flax, is notorious for its ability to bind the soil together. And then on this side, I'm just going to go take my little trowel, dig a small little trench. Grab some seeds, and I'm just going to sprinkle them in along. Sprinkle the seeds, and then I'm just going to stomp them down nice and gently. And since harakeke is very generous with its seeds, I can be very generous with sprinkling the seeds, so I don't have to worry about putting one at a specific distance. Whoever wants to come up is going to come up, and the more that we can get on this bank to stabilize it, the better. And we'll just continue our way down along the bend and that'll be it for now. It's a pretty straightforward, simple process. We're not even going to water these because there's quite a bit of rain forecast for tomorrow. Hopefully that rain comes, and if not, the seeds will stay dormant anyways until the first drops of rain reach them, so that way they can just adapt to the natural circumstances. It's a bit late in the season, we're end of spring, the beginning of summer, but you know, better late than never. That's for these two experiments, these two jobs done. If they fail completely, it wasn't that much of an effort on our side, just a bit of sowing, a bit of raking, maybe 20 minutes up in total. If it does work, then it was a quick and easy way to introduce two plants into the landscape on erosion prone areas of the landscape. There's a few more other jobs, for example, cut and poison some of the oldman's beard, some clematis. Here I am in one of the areas that was native bush, a native gully, a gully with natives in and amongst the pines. Behind me, this was an old tawa tree which was cut for some reason during the harvest of the pines, and that's not the only damage. You can see around me the immense amount of damage and debris and everything that was done, and this is all pretty much natives. This whole gully was full of natives, so that's all been smashed to pieces during the harvest. The reason I want to highlight this, of course, is the tragic loss, but also have a look at what the regeneration is doing up here, and it's kind of mixed messaging. On the one hand, we've got some remnants, so we've got some tree ferns that are hanging around. We've got a few Mahoe, Whitey woods that really do well with a kind of a coppice planting regime. With regards to Mahoe or Whitey wood, which is this beautiful specimen tree behind me, it's definitely one of the older ones I've seen, but one of the themes that I saw recurring with specifically Mahoe on the property is that it tends to regenerate from the most extreme circumstances. You can see this tree has been severely damaged, however on most of the points it's resprouting and regrowing, so they get topped or damaged and they just explode in new growth. So the Whitey woods is not an issue. There's heaps of new growth coming up as well. I've seen plenty of ferns that are making their way, a native jasmine creeping around, plenty of moko wineberry seedlings. The Whitey wood, of course, is also coming around. I saw some tea toki seeds, so plenty of native seedlings showing up. But then on the flip side, there's also plenty of space for the barberries coming up. And then one of the plants that I'm most concerned about actually is the oldman's beard. I saw quite a few seedlings popping up. And one of the reasons I wanted to come here is actually because in some of these trees over here, there's a few vines creeping up. And I thought that the clematis was not that big of an issue. There's going to be just a few vines here and there that we could cut and poison, but the more that I'm exploring, the more that I'm realizing that this is a major issue. Based on the seedlings that are showing up everywhere, we'll have to maybe switch tactics and think how to go from there. Today we did a few different things on the land, and I think you can summarize it in two ways. We either build stuff, regenerate stuff, plant things, sow things, or secondly, we try and break stuff, poison things, pull out pines, that kind of stuff. Those two things also tend to happen together. It's also a nice analogy for life, nice comparison for life. Sometimes you build things, you regenerate, you feel good, and sometimes you break things, you're mad and you want to break stuff. Let me catch my breath after using my muscles. Testing, yeah, to disturb the soil, just to disturb. Welcome to a crib.